So today, we're in my kitchen. Why? Because you are going to help me make coffee, and we're gonna capture it using the Ashanks Motorized Carbon Fiber Slider. This is their newest slider that just hit the market, and honestly, it's my new favorite slider. And coming in at about 450 American dollars, this thing is basically the only slider you will ever need. Now, first off, this is made out of a carbon fiber material, so the rails are thick carbon fiber. It's lighter and stiffer than aluminum. Also, we have an included flywheel here, which allows us to get more precise and smoother sliding shots. And it has a little bit of momentum, so even when you let go of the carriage, it will still swing to the left or slide to the left and slide to the right. Now, it's built off of a belt system and a sprocket, and we have an optional motor, as I mentioned earlier. This is a 100% manual or motorized slider. Now, to attach the motor, it's as simple as just unscrewing this little thumb screw for the flywheel. Then all we have to do is just pop on the motor, and it fits perfectly right onto the gear shaft. Then we just screw in the little thumb screws, and we can attach a battery. Now, there's two different ways we can power this motor. We can either use a Sony MPF style battery, or you can use a power bank. This thing is extremely quiet, so I'm gonna run it, and you guys let me know if you can hear this motor working. Odds are you won't. If anything, you'll probably hear my fridge, because that thing is louder than this motor. Now, we're gonna grab my phone here. We're gonna open up the Ashanks app. And what's unique about this app is that we can close out of it and the slider will continue working. Most other sliders, you have to stay on the app for it to work. Now, personally, I'm not a big fan of relying on my phone to control my camera equipment, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal if you don't mind it. But next time, I really would like to see a separate control module for this slider. So maybe in the version 2 of this model, they can include that in the package. And we need to set our A and B points. So we want to set the end point and the start point of this slider. And that's another thing I wish they could include with this slider, is it having little sensors on opposite ends. That way we don't have to manually do this every time we open up this app. Still not a big deal, but it does take a little bit of time. Now, you do definitely need a ball head that goes right onto the carriage. I'll link to a really good ball head down below. Here I'm using the Joby one, but it's not the best ball head, but I have like 5 or 6 ball heads that I do recommend. The carriage itself runs on 6 different gliders that have excellent bearings for smooth control. And listen to how quiet this thing is, all right? So we're gonna go ahead and start the motion here. I'm gonna take my little lav mic and put it to the motor. I can barely hear it working, can you? It's even quieter than my Synetics slider, and I thought that thing was dead quiet. So this thing can support 44 pounds horizontally, 18 pounds at a 45-degree angle, and 11 pounds in full vertical mode. Having 11 pounds being the maximum payload for vertical mode, you can definitely fit, let's say, a Canon C200, a light lens, and maybe even an accessory. No problem. Vertical mode, wow, it was impressive. On the center of the slider, we have multiple 1/4 20-inch ports along with 3/8-inch ports. Same thing on the opposite ends of the slider. We also have 4 adjustable pegs, meaning that you can put this on a tabletop and they can level out if need be as well. These are rubberized little pegs here, so they're gonna grip on really well. When it comes down to the overall performance of the slider, it's absolutely phenomenal. Just take a look at some of this test footage here. This flywheel does a lot, and it's an aluminum heavy flywheel, so that's what gets us our smooth dynamic motion. The motor itself does have some weight to it. It has an aluminum shell, and it feels very high quality. The carriage is also very large and made out of aluminum, so it makes you feel much more comfortable when you have, let's say, a Red or other cinema quality camera on this setup. We also have a little brake here on the side, so when you have the flywheel on, it will lock the carriage in place. Now there are two very big things that this slider unit is missing, and that is a tilt motor or tilt axis and a pan motor or pan axis. So a slider like this would be very difficult to use in an interview setup because you want the slider to follow the subject. So as it slides from left to right, you also want it to pan. You don't probably need it to tilt as much, but panning is definitely a feature that is missing from this slider. So hopefully they'll release another 2 motors for this system, or the version 2 of this slider hopefully will have that as well. If you want a slider that performs exceptionally well, is powerful, is quiet, has a ton of features, is made out of quality components, then this is the slider for you. Again, we are missing that pan and tilt head, but hopefully in the future that will be released. I'll leave a link to where you can get this slider in the description box below, so make sure you check that out. Don't forget to give this video a big like and subscribe with those notifications turned on, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!